Hey guys, thanks for checking out this episode of Cory's Car Review. Today we're at Eddie's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Wichita, Kansas. If you guys are looking for a new or used car, come check these guys out. They've been super nice to us. I asked if I could come do a video on this Prowler. Not only do they have this Prowler, they also have a 2004 red convertible Viper, which is my personal dream car. If you guys just want to come up here to check that Viper out, it's going to be worth your while because those are bad cars. I'm excited to show you this because there was a lot of controversy around this Prowler when it came out. Chip Foose was a huge influencer on the project for this Prowler. He was at the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California, and Tom Gale, who was the president of design at Chrysler at that time, they went to the college and said, we want you guys to come up with a design that we can put in production for the public. So Chip Foose, he designed and actually built a model of what he envisioned the car looking like. And Tom Gale liked it so much that they went with it. They spent over $90 million developing the Prowler. It was never designed to be a high volume, high selling vehicle. It was more of an experiment with aluminum because at the time when this came out, they debuted the concept Prowler in '93 and they developed the Prowler for the public. They came out in '97. So in '97 there wasn't a lot of aluminum being used. It was kind of new to the market. This car weighs 2,800 pounds. 1,000 pounds of that is aluminum with the chassis and the body panels. And there weren't a lot of manufacturers that were doing that. When the concept car debuted in '93, it pretty much looks just like it did in '93 when it came out in '97. They added obviously door handles and they added the side marker lights. I think a lot of the rest of the car was pretty much identical to the concept car, which is pretty cool. There's not a whole lot of cars that the actual production car looks like the concept car. After this came out of production in '97, Chip Foose said he really wasn't happy with the drivetrain they used because they used the 3.5 liter V6 that were in other Dodge vehicles, and it was only offered in an automatic. It was never offered in a manual. Chip Foose didn't like that. His original sketch, it had the Hemi sitting in the back with a manual. So when Plymouth brought this out in '97, it led him to develop go ahead and build the Hemisphere. So the production ran from '97 to 2002. They skipped '98 for some reason. I don't know why they skipped '98. But when the Prowler came out in '97, it had a cast iron 3.5 liter V6, I think around 215 horsepower. When they revamped it in '99, which that's what year this one is, it came out with an aluminum 3.5 liter V6. That one had 253 horsepower. The only color you could get in '97 was purple. When it came back in '99, that's when they that's when they brought out the rest of the colors. And from the whole span of the Prowler, they built a little over 11,700 Prowlers. There were 3,921 '99 Prowlers, and out of those, there were only 799 that were in this black. Chrysler dropped the Plymouth brand after the 2000 model year. 2001 and 2002, they rebranded it as just a Chrysler Prowler. Once we lift the back of this, you'll be able to tell the limited space. Because there was so limited space, Plymouth had a extra, for $5,000, it was a tow-behind trailer that you could only tow that trailer with the Prowler, and there was actually a safety sticker on the tongue of the hitch that said if you towed anything else other than the trailer, then it would void your warranty. But that trailer it mimicked the back end of the Prowler. It had the same wheels as the Prowler, but they were 15-inch wheels. So on the front of this, there were bumpers that came out. I think they called it like a mustache bumper. A lot of people said they were ugly. Some of them liked them, some of them didn't. They obviously had to have it because it was a production vehicle. This one doesn't have it, and I do like they've got the cover right here. It's got the cycle fender, and what's neat is you've got all your suspension exposed. You've got your upper lower control arms. There's a notch, if you can see right here, and that notch is there because when you turn that wheel to the left and the other side to the right, that notch is there so the inside of this fender does not rub. So I want to show you under the hood of this. Before we do that, though, I'll show you these doors. They only open at 45 degrees, so that's as far as the door opens. The hood latch is right down here, just like any, obviously like any other hood latch. But because of the long nose, the actual hood hinge is right about here. So when you open this, there's a little pull lever right there, and you can see that latch is here and that pull lever is here. So under the hood of this, like I mentioned, is a 3.5 liter V6, 235 horsepower. There's a couple places that you've got the Prowler logo. One is there on the engine cover, and the other one is under the hood. The other one is on the back of the seats and the steering wheel. Something that's unique about this Prowler is it shares the same suspension as the Dodge Viper, and there were other parts of they said 40% of the Prowler was from the parts bin at Chrysler and Plymouth, because they had to use leftover parts to keep the cost down on this. Like I said, they were at $90 million to develop this. A cool feature on this, if you look, you've got the Cory shocks that are displayed right there in front, and then the battery's right there in the front. So that makes it easy if it's dead, you need to jump it. So the fronts are 17-inch, and this is probably one of the biggest difference staggered wheels that they had. So the fronts are 17-inch. And then when you get to the back, you've got 20 by 10 inch on the back, 17 by 7 in the front, 20 by 10 on the back. And what was unique was when this car came out in 97, the biggest wheel you could get was a 16-inch. So Goodyear had to specifically make a 20-inch wheel for this car. When you come around to the back, I really like the design they did with these rear tail lights and this fender. Of course, you've got the third brake light back here. Pretty much a 50-50 weight ratio. You've got the motor in the front, and it's got a rear-mounted transaxle, which that allows you to get close to that 50-50 weight. But if you've been down here and look, that is actually the transmission cooler, and I like the way they've got this cover. It's got the Prowler. They've got the cover to cover it. 99 and 2000, they say Plymouth Prowler. And the 2001 and 2002, since it was relabeled as just a Chrysler Prowler, that is gone, and it just says Prowler right there on the back. So as I mentioned, the Prowler ran from 97 to 2002. They discontinued after 2002, and then the predecessor to the Prowler was the Crossfire when it came out in 2004. When this debuted in 97, it was around 38,000. And then the final year in 2002, I want to say the sticker was right around 44,000. So I want to show you guys how to raise and lower this convertible top. There's a yellow button that you push right here that opens this trunk lid, and that's why Plymouth offered the extra trailers, because you have a very limited trunk space back here. You raise this convertible top, and then like a normal convertible, it latches up under the windshield, but then you have to put this trunk lid down, and then you can snap that on. So with all that snapped and ready to go, to lower it, you loosen the clamps under the windshield, and then there's a lever back here. So I'll show you guys. There's a lever right here that you pull. I'll let Caden pull that because I can't do it with my broken hand. And then that allows you to release the back. Push this yellow button. And then this will fold right back in there. And now you're good to go. You've got your instrument cluster up here. You've got your battery, your voltmeter on the left, then your oil gauge. Your speedometer goes 150 mile an hour. and then your fuel gauge and your temperature gauge. One thing I want to mention is when this debuted in 97 with the cast iron block, the top speed was, I want to say, around 118. When they revamped it in 99, they bumped the top speed up to, I think, around 126. So that was one of the options. Plus, you got more horsepower. Something that's funny on the inside of this is they had an old school headlight switch, which I don't know if you'd be able to see it through here, but it's an old school headlight pull switch. What would have been neat is if they also would have incorporated the high beam foot switch down on the floor. That would have been just a cool, I guess, feature to add on that. So another feature on these Prowlers that was factory was it actually had the tack that was screwed into the top of this steering column. That is a pretty cool feature. It kind of gives you that old school hot rod look. These seats are actually pretty comfortable. Like I said, they've got the Prowler logo. You've got the speakers back here. There's not a whole lot of leg room. I'm 6'3". There's not a lot of leg room, but you do have enough room because there is no dead pedal. You do have enough room that you can extend your left leg out. I don't even think there would be enough room for a third pedal, for a clutch pedal, if they offered this with a manual. I don't think there would be enough room. The door handles were from the Dodge Viper. These door lock knobs, these mirror controls, the turn signals, the air conditioner vents, the shifter, the radio, the air conditioner controls, all that was out of the parts bin for Chrysler, part of the 40% that was used. Just because they'd spent so much money, they had to save money where they could. And I know that was a big controversy with the engine, I know that's what Chip Fu said when he designed it. He wanted the V8 with a manual. Well, when this debuted, it had the V6 with an automatic. I think even if a V8 wouldn't have had the power they were looking for, I think it was hot rod guys. I think it was more just the sound of a V8. Even if the V6 had more horsepower, you had the rumble and the sound of the V8. And speaking of that, while we're sitting in here, I'm going to fire it up for you. This does have an aftermarket exhaust. It does sound pretty good, but I want to start it sitting in here where you can listen to it. Got a pretty good rumble. And let's check that tack out. Something that's kind of strange on this is when you're driving, I can see the left front tire, but I can't see the right front. So when you turn, you're making turns that you're parking, you know where the left front's at, and you just kind of have to guess where the right side is. And it's only like 35 degrees. It's cold, but the only way I'd really want to drive this is with the top down. It's a lot nicer to see everything with this top down. And if you turn the sun visor, you've got a little bitty window right there that you can see. Of course, your side has the sticker from Eddie. Here's what all your gauges look like when you're driving. That's cool that they've got white face gauges. I really like that. I feel like every vehicle could benefit from white face gauges. I'm going to get it on here where you can hear it because we're a little away from the highway. Man, with that, when it shifts, it jerks you back. It's got, for the V6, it's got plenty of power. Even if it had 300 or 400 horsepower, like I think a lot of the public wanted when it came out. I feel like that you want to spin the tires, obviously. I don't know that there's enough horsepower mixed with how the 20-inch wheels and how wide they are, being 10 inches wide. I'm not obviously going to try and do a burnout. The guys at Eddie said, well, we saw your videos and we'd love for you to do videos, but we noticed you really like doing burnouts. And I said, well, I won't do a burnout with it. I'll be respectful. So an interesting feature about this 4-speed auto stick is when you've got it in manual and you're shifting it yourself, if you forget to shift, the computer will actually shut the fuel off at 6,600 RPM so it doesn't damage the motor. And then also, if I haven't mentioned this in the video yet, all these Prowlers are rear-wheel drive. So with this painted instrument cluster, that is color matched to the exterior color. So like I mentioned, I'm 6'3", and with this top up, my head is resting against the cloth top. So I'm sure on the outside it looks like a ball. In a sports car like this, I would rather have a stiffer suspension than something that floats like a Buick or a Cadillac, because you wouldn't get the same feel in this if it rode like my Accord. So I honestly would rather it be stiff and you hit a bump and you're like, oh crap. This exhaust sounds really good. I like the way it sounds. I like these seats. Like I feel like if the side bolsters were bigger, you couldn't even get in and out of it because this door only opens 45 degrees. So I feel like, I know a lot of people say it's not comfortable. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the review of this 99 Prowler. A huge shout out to our friends here at Eddie's Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. If you guys are looking for a new or used vehicle, come check them out. They're here on West Kellogg in Wichita, and I can't wait to show you some more videos to come.